Let's now begin reading the book of Esther, also known as the Megillah, according to the Jews. I'm going to read the story to you. Let's begin in Esther's 1, verse 1, 3, 4, 10 through 12, and 19. Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus, this is Ahasuerus, which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 127 provinces, that in those days when the king Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan the place, in the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princesses and his servants, the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of the province, being before him. Verse 10. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Muhammad Bista Habona. Now this is a feast that he has prepared for his people. It's also known in theology that the feast not only was to boast about his power and the feast for his noble ones, but it also mentioned on how the Jews, being captivated by Babylon, had now also been transferred over to Persia, and the prophecy of Jeremiah, which was written, had not actually come to fruition, being that the Jews had not received the king, nor were they released from bondage. But so he was celebrating that the Jews, that God had not fulfilled the prophecy, and was just mocking them and making fun of them, and just rejoicing that Persia was now ruling the entire world. It was also mentioned in the story that there were white, green, and blue hangings and fastenings of the cords. These colors were also known to be Jewish high priest colors. The blue and white were high priest colors. It was also mentioned by other Jewish theologians that the king Ahasuerus would wear high priest garments and also fed wine in various cups that were also located in the temple of God, which was destroyed by Babylon. So the gold vessels that he used were filled with wine, and those vessels were also from the temple of God, as he mocked them and used the high priest's garments to serve wine. It was mentioned along the way. It's not written, but Jewish theologians from literature which is not placed here also mentions these things. Verse 10. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Bista, Harbona, Bigtha, and Abagatha, Zethah, and Carcass, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king, to bring Vashti the queen before the king with the crown royal, to shew the people and the princess her beauty, for she was fair to look on. But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him. Now it's also mentioned that the queen was to come in naked, only wearing the royal crown. And she refused to come in naked before these men, being that she was the queen and did not want to be deprived by this. Now, Eve was also known as the first feminist because she disobeyed God's commandment, her husband's commandment, not to eat of the fruit of the tree, but yet she did her own will. So here we also see another display of feminism, and the woman doing what she pleased and not what the king asked for. In verse 19, says, "If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before King Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she." So now the queen has been denounced as queen, and they are making a commandment that the king should be receiving a new queen shortly. Let's go into Esther 2, verses 3 through 7. Verses 3 through 7. Here we'll be seeing how, symbolic to the glorious white church, God will appoint Esther to be this glorious white church who frees her people in the end, and how she is also a part of the people, and she is the new queen to be appointed as well. Esther will also, in the scriptures, you will see be an orphan raised by her cousin Mordecai. Esther 2, verse 3. "And let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of the kingdom, that they may gather together all the fair young virgins unto Shushan the palace, to the house of the woman, unto the custody of Hegi the king's chamberlain, keeper of the woman. And let their things be for purification be given unto them. And let the maiden which pleases the king be queen instead of Vashti." And the thing pleased the king, and he did so. Now in Shushan the palace there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjamite, who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity which had been carried away with Jeconiah, king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away. And he brought up Hadassah, that is, Esther, his uncle's daughter. Now Hadassah is the Jewish name, Esther is her Persian name. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother. And the maid was fair and beautiful, whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter. So it came to pass, when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, and when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan the palace to the custody of Hegi, that Esther was brought also unto the king's house to the custody of Hegi, keeper of the woman. And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness of Hegi. And he speedily gave her things for purification, which such things as belonged unto her, and 7 maidens which were meet to be given her out of the king's house. And he preferred her and her maids unto the best palace of the house of the woman. Verse 10. Esther had not shewed her people nor her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not shew it. Therefore Esther had kept it secret that she was a Jew, in fear of the Persian would not accept her as a queen. And Mordecai walked every day before the court of the woman's house, to know how Esther did, and what should become of her. Now when every maid's turn was come to go to the king, Ahasuerus, after that she had been 12 months according to the manner of woman. For so were the days of her purification accomplished, to wit, 6 months with oils and myrrh, and 6 months with sweet odors, perfumes, and cosmetics, and with other things for the purifying of the woman. 17 and 18. And the king loved Esther above all the women, and she obtained grace and favor in his sight more than all the virgins, so that he set the royal crown upon her head, and made her queen instead of Vashti. Then the king made a great feast unto all his princesses and his servants, even Esther's feast. And he made a release to the provinces and gave gifts according to the state of the king. So here now we see that Esther was actually chosen to be queen by the king. And so not only was she made queen, but a feast was also dedicated to her. Therefore, that's a marvelous thing in this lady's eyes. Amen. Verse 20. Esther had not yet shewed her kindred nor her people, as Mordecai had charged her. For Esther did the commandments of Mordecai like as when she was brought up with him. In those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, two of the king's chamberlains, Bigthan and Teresh, of those which kept the door, were wroth and sought to lay hands on the king Ahasuerus. And the thing was known to Mordecai, who told it to Esther the queen. And Esther certified the king thereof in Mordecai's name. And when inquisition was made of the matter, it was found out. Therefore they were both hanged on a tree. And it was written in the books of the Chronicles before the king. So Mordecai heard two people who were gatekeepers outside of the king's door plotting to kill the king. So not only was the king disrespected by his wife, and he lost favor before many people that women should not disobey their men, but now there's report of his own gatekeepers trying to kill him. So now I'm sure he's becoming a little bit more worried about what people are thinking about him, seeming that they are trying to plot against him. So he might be a little bit worried at this point in time. Now, who can the king trust at this point of time? It may be hard for him. So these things were also written in the Chronicles before the king.